Let's see. Okay, so let me just make sure. Where's our actual table? Where's our actual?
The
Oh, it's back there.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. We'll go there after.
And
Yeah,
then
nice.
Nick is right over here. I don't know if he wants to come up.
Okay.
Come up.
Hey, Nick, you can come hang out back here if you want. All right. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. And we're here to celebrate the confluence of a lot of things here in the Duke City on a wonderful, beautiful winter afternoon. And there's a couple of things that we want to do. I think first and foremost, we're here to dedicate this particular plaza, this facility, to Don Perkins. And that's right. That's right. We'll just applause right there. And, you know, Don leaves a whole lot of legacies. And so we're going to kind of share some of that. We most of us know about his football legacy. So we got to talk about that a little bit. But we also want to talk about his dedication to this city, also to public safety. And so we'll touch on that briefly, and then we're going to unveil a little bit of a commemorative plaque. So I want to do some announcements before I start. I just want to acknowledge, I think some of them may share a few words, but first and foremost, from out of town and in town and all things in between, we have a lot of Don's family here today. So let's give them a round of applause. Thank you for coming. And also we have our lots of folks from UNM. Of course, you know, Don is a famous and proud Lobo. And, you know, we're lucky to have a new coach here with us. I think a familiar name. So let's welcome Bronco Mendenhall. I think Don, he'd be excited about that, by the way. I don't know if I just say, you know. So, all right. So now let's see here. And of course, I do want to announce he's being shy today, but there's a guy here, Nick Backus, who's all sorts of things, including a good friend of Don's, but also former head of public safety and all sorts of things. So, Nick, thanks for making all this happen in many ways. So let me touch on just a few things. First and foremost, you know, I think for some of us, it was also a personal relationship with Don. And I was fortunate enough to meet him later in his career. And actually, it was because of Nick. And I was running for mayor, and he's like, "You got to come meet Don. We're springing him." Oh, he's springing Don. And teed up. You might not have heard him, but I was like, "Wait, the Don Perkins, you know?" And of course, as you all know, I still, you know, moonlight on the football field for practice purposes primarily. And so I always have football in the car, multiple footballs in the car. And so I was like, hold on, I'm going to go get a ball and see if he'll sign it for me. So I still have it. This is the Don Perkins signed ball from that event. And Nick, as you will note, it's a used ball. It's not like I bought it just for Don. And I told him that, and he was like, yeah, you know, he really appreciated that. So nice. Hey, thank you. We'll tell you what, we'll put that in the press release. So that's good. All right, Nick and I are just gonna do the rest of this just like this. No, just kidding. But look, I was fortunate enough to get a few pearls of wisdom from him, and of course also his great sense of humor. But what I learned later is I actually wasn't aware at the time how dedicated he was to community public safety and to community policing. And he was actually the first person to really hold that position in the city of Albuquerque. And of course, you know, just given all things in America and the history of policing, extremely important also that he happened to be African American. He was a bridge builder between the police department and the community, and a healer in many ways in his own era for public safety in the Duke City. And so what a better physical location to honor him than a literal connection point between UNM across the street, between our substation, and in the heart of Albuquerque than this plaza. So I think this is a fitting tribute to his legacy in many, many ways. So what I'm going to do now is let some of the other folks chime in here about different aspects of his life. And we always tease personally this next speaker about his own football career, but you know, we do it personally. But if you can't tell, he may have played O-line. So let's bring up Deputy Chief Josh Brown.
Online.
You think? I mean, it's perfect.
Thanks, Mayor. You know, you talk about legacy. You talk about, you know, things within the police department, things at UNM, and you know, Mr. Perkins worked for the Albuquerque Police Department as a crime prevention specialist from 1997 to 2001. That pretty much laid the bedrock and foundation of what our crime prevention specialists do now, and what kind of evolved over the years into our ambassador program, where we reach out to different segments of the community, build those connections within the police department, and really, like, how do you really touch your community? And you know, being a former, as the mayor stated, old lineman and former Lobo, you know, it kind of brings it home of giving back to your community and working within the community that kind of raised you and where you grew up. It means a lot to me that, you know, having gone to UNM, my first dorm room was right across the street over here. We had lots of time to come by the substation, and you know, having that within the community and what Don did for us, and laying that groundwork within the police department, and his continued commitment and dedication to the public and our community as a whole, it means a lot. And so, on behalf of the Albuquerque Police Department, I want to say thank you to his family for being here. We really appreciate the opportunity to reach out and continue that legacy that he helped to build so long ago. So we appreciate you guys, we appreciate him, and we look forward to many great things in the future. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Chief. And we'd love to hear from some of Don's family. And I think, Randy, are you going to have the honors here? Did I get that right?
Well, I was just nominated.
There you go. Randy Perkins.
Yeah, I've absolutely prepared nothing, but, you know, on behalf of the family, I just want to thank you guys for coming out to honor my dad. You know, before this presentation, we talked, we bannered a lot with the committee about what are we celebrating in Don. We're celebrating his service with the city and the crime prevention. He worked for the state of New Mexico. He was a truck driver. He was an actor. He was a football player. He was a lot of things, but more than anything else, I think, you know, me and my family will remember him as our father, as our grandfather, as our uncle, as our brother, and everything else. So he meant a lot to this community, and this community meant a lot to him. When he came out here from Iowa, he said, "I'm never going back. Are you kidding me?" So, you know, on behalf of all of us, and I think I speak for all of my family, thank you for coming out to honor not the football player, not the crime prevention specialist, not the state politician. Thanks for coming out to honor our father. Thank you.
Well, we're going to do a quick unveiling here, and then we'll stick around. Folks want to chat, and of course, it's up to the family, but Danielle's going to organize if you want to get some interviews with different folks. I want to wrap things up by just saying, you know, what a wonderful weekend it is here in the Duke City. I know it's basketball season, so we got the Lobo game tomorrow, big game. So we're all excited about that. But of course, also it's MLK weekend, and so we have a wonderful march planned for tomorrow. Some special recognitions also on Monday. And also want to note something that I think, you know, Don typically would mention too, which is that confluence between athletics and underserved communities and our children. And what we're doing also on Martin Luther King Day is we're opening, or sort of groundbreaking, the renovation of Phil Chacon Park, which, those of you familiar with the city, is a very huge, awesome park where I used to play rugby, and all sorts of people have done all sorts of sports out there, but also in a neighborhood in probably more need than any other neighborhood in our community. And so we hope that in many ways fits in with all the activities. And so I want to invite you to that ceremony around noon also on Monday. Okay, so I think with that, let's gather around here, the blue cloth. And kind of scoot in. James, come on in here. You know, this guy, you're your name on this flag? Nick's? Oh, Jay's our guy. So, yeah, so you can do it with me. So we'll count to 3 and then we'll flip it over. Okay, so from backwards. 3, 2, 1. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all so much for coming, and have a great weekend.